What is abusive, but not widely recognized as abuse? Not allowing your children to show unhappy emotions. Parents that are super controlling and won't let their children make age-appropriate decisions. Withholding life skills from your offspring to keep them insecure and dependent. Calling your partner vulgar, offensive names in arguments. So many people believe this is normal couple behavior. Using guilt to manipulate the people closest to you. My grandmother can send my mom into such darkness with a swift and stinging comment. I hate to see it. And it is absolutely abusive. Not letting employees have a lunch break. Taking a kid's door. Privacy and control issues for life. Deny your kid any semblance of privacy. And they will become excellent at hiding things from you. It's a power play punishment. Not an instructive one. At least not in the way parents hope. It's especially backward-headed when used as a punishment for hiding things from the parents, as it reinforces that things must be hidden better. The silent treatment. Encouraging someone when they are having destructive behaviors. Being yelled at all the time, and those yells either having subtle or not threats, even if there's no action on those words, it counts as mental abuse. Not providing emotional support, shutting down someone's emotions and telling them they are invalid or don't matter. Telling someone how they feel, or how they should feel. When you come home in a bad mood and take it out on your family. They didn't do anything and they love you, don't fuck it up with the name calling and yelling. Talk to them instead, or ask if you can just be left alone. Controlling someone's finances. Parental alienation. Telling lies to children about their other parent. Really screws with kids' heads because they are 50 that other person. Parentification of a child. Usually the eldest child. In fiction, especially kids shows where the parents are absent, it's usually the eldest kid who looks after the younger siblings. Elder abuse. Especially when it's one elderly spouse abusing the other. It's like the entire medical system and society is blind to it. Compulsive. Consistent. Lying. You take away someone's ability to consent to a situation when you lie to them. Using your child's SSN to open a credit card or set up an account such as a utility bill. Editing to add if this is happening or has happened to you freeze your credit. Make it so that only you can authorize a line of credit being opened in your name. That's a good place to start to regain control. Neglect. Including neglecting your child's mental health. IDK if this is everywhere, but this is certainly my experience. Bullying in school. We all know that bullying is abusive, but schools never treat it as such, and neither do parents. Sexual assault in a married relationship. Mandatory overtime. Work beyond your physical and mental well-being or you'll lose your income source. Systems abuse, i.e., abusers using the legal system or police to further isolate and control their victim. Emotional blackmail. Constantly putting someone down and saying they're stupid. Mocking someone with the defense, "Oh come on, I was just joking, sheesh, lighten up." Forcing children to hug and kiss relatives when they clearly don't want to. Suicide threats. Telling your partner who they can and can't hang out with. General control over your partner. Staying in an unhealthy marriage for the kids. My parents are still together to this day despite practically despising each other, and it made our household so miserable to grow up in. I think a lot of parents like mine think they can hide their issues from their kids, but it just never ends up working in the end, as the problems always end up spilling over onto the children. It's definitely negatively impacted my overall mental health to have grown up in such a volatile and aggressive household. Being told that you shouldn't feel a certain way and that you are wrong. People should not try to control other people's emotions. Telling someone that they did not hear or see what they did. Making them question their memory and sanity just so you don't look bad. Controlling everything about your child. How they act and do their decisions, and who they are allowed to interact with and who they are allowed to be as a person to a toxic level is abuse. Also, all these moms putting makeup on their children or dressing them up all whack when the child's against it is disgusting. When I was with my ex 5 years ago, she tried to isolate me from a lot of my friends who were girls because she didn't like that about them and how close I was with them, even though I was friends with them for years before she was ever in the picture. Unfortunately enough, that worked, and I didn't really reconcile with him about that situation until literally yesterday. And I actually almost cried because of the guilt I felt. So yeah, if your partner is trying to control who your friends are, especially based off their gender identity, just do yourself a favor and cut it off. LMFAO. Putting the pressure of huge expectations on a child and then telling everyone that all of these dreams are the child's dreams even though they're obviously yours. Not apologizing to your kids when you're wrong. The silent treatment. Comparing you to someone else, thinking it's just a motivation to encourage you. Overtime without pay. When young children display behaviors that make them seem old and wise or beyond their years, it can be a symptom of them being parentified. I recently sat through an awards ceremony that was all red flags, children receiving awards for noticing when their teachers were not feeling well, checking on everyone else, putting the adults' feelings before their own. Those kids are probably not okay. Cheating. You risk the physical and mental health of your partner. Workspaces that say they are like a family. You know those employees work longer and do more than they are paid for. Narcissism. I'm talking about the true definition, not the insult. I've only realized how abusive it really is. Not understanding I've dealt with it my whole life. It's rough and almost no way to discuss it with the abuser. Living vicariously through your child. Grooming your child to be a trophy kid. Sibling abuse. Just because someone is related to you doesn't mean they have the right to verbally, mentally, emotionally or physically abuse you. My older brother has done all these since we were young, and my mother never put in much effort to stop him. Now I have no relationship with him because of how his abuse has gradually escalated. It's really disheartening to see my mother accept his abuse. She often uses that fact to tell me I should just do what she does and just ignore it. I was just a kid who needed protected, and I can still feel that betrayal today. Kicking your kids out at age 18 just because you can. A society that does not give adequate shelter, food, medical and social care to its most vulnerable citizens, rather than support them. Brainwash the other citizens to punish, shame the vulnerable for reacting to circumstances that are mostly out of their control because they are not given adequate opportunity for growth, acceptance, or just to live in peace and quiet. Also, companies providing minimal wage that does not pay for basic care, living conditions, while increasing profit margins and increasing the wealth gap between the haves and the have-nots.